We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost.
What's up, Hans family? Today's tutorial is going to be this barnacle encrusted mermaid. I did this look a while ago using body paint, but I really wanted to visit it again with the use of prosthetics and shells and shit. The idea behind this was that she was waiting for her love for so long that barnacles grew all over her face because clearly her love never came. Sad, I know. All product details will be listed down below, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get to it. Starting out with the barnacles, these are so easy to make. I'm using Model Magic, which is basically like a foam clay that you just let air dry overnight, and it's super light, so it's really awesome to use to make horns or barnacles, whatever. I'm using a, what is this called? I almost said scalpel, a spatula to create the indentions in the barnacle. You want to start by getting a ball of the clay and just squeezing it onto your hand to create the walls of the barnacle. Make sure to look at a reference picture, that's just what I did. Start using your tool. You could use a spatula or you could use a paintbrush. The first time I did this, I used a paintbrush. And you just want to start creating all of the markings in the barnacle. They have this little circular top that are kind of covered by the walls on the outside. So I'm just creating that with the use of my spatula and adding as much texture as possible, because when you add the paint in with this, it's just going to exaggerate all of this texture you're putting in. So you want to add as much as possible. I even went for some little dots and stuff just to make sure that it looked really realistic. Now let this just air dry overnight and you can then glue it to your face the next day. Onto the makeup, I start with my black Scalera contacts already in my eyes. These are such a bitch and a half to wear, but god do they look cool. To cover my body, I mixed white and teal Mehron Makeup Paradise paints, and Kenny is trying to dig in water. Back to the paints. These are water activated, so just a little bit of water, they get nice and creamy. Start with your first layer, and it's going to probably look a little patchy, which is fine because you always want to layer the paints a little bit. And when you do your second layer, all you have to do is just lighten the pressure on your brush so you don't really cause too many brush strokes. If you put too much pressure, you're basically going to pick up that first layer of paint you just put down. When your face and body is all nice and dry, I went ahead and set this with Sugarpill's Mochi eyeshadow, which is just an aqua color. This will basically just help us to blend other products on top of the paint. You know how you put a nude eyeshadow over your eye primer on your eye? Same thing. Using Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics white cream paint, God, it's a mouthful, I am going to start highlighting my face. You can use cream paint on top of water-activated paints if you just are very soft. Use more so stippling and dabbing motions with a fluffy brush as to not disturb the paint underneath. Cream paints on top of water-activated paints do create really beautiful highlights, and I'm doing this all over my face where I would normally highlight and on top of my collarbones and some of my kind of neck tendons and stuff. Makeup Geek has this color called Sea Mist, which... what do you know, perfect name for this mermaid look, and I'm just going to use that to contour. I'm doing this based off of that headpiece I'm wearing in, obviously, the intro, and so I wanted to really bring in a little bit more of that kind of green olive-y color. Just contour your face like normal, and I also wanted to contour my jaw a lot and really bring out the highlights around my collarbones and neck. You can even do a couple other things like contouring your nose. I added a little bit of shadow underneath my eyebrows. Just add some shadow to make the character into whichever face shape you want. Now we want to add in some kind of grimy brown cream paint. I'm doing this in stippling motions with this sponge, which is really perfect for stippling. And I'm doing this mainly where I'm going to put the barnacles in clusters. I also wanted to add just a little bit around my face just to bring the entire look together so it's cohesive. And then just add spirit gum on top of where you are going to put your barnacles. You can first measure where you're going to put your barnacles, and prior to contrary belief, you don't need to tap the spirit gum to make it sticky. Just wait until it's nice and tacky. Start laying your barnacles down. I wanted to do it where the larger barnacles were in the center, and then they kind of had the smaller ones cascading around it. And again, I wanted them more so in clusters instead of just randomly all over my face. I kind of picked a side to more so focus on, just because that is where the water hit me the most as I was waiting for my love. After doing this, I probably should have painted the barnacles beforehand, so I would suggest you guys do that with some acrylic paint or makeup if you want. But I decided to go in with tan and white mixed together for body paint and just kind of do a light wash on all of the barnacles. They're not stark white. They have a little bit of brown in them, you know what I'm saying? So going in with a little bit more of that brown cream paint, I start to accentuate where all of the markings are that we made with the clay. Again, look at a reference picture, see what parts are really accentuated on these barnacles, especially that circular part in the center is really dark and has a lot of color to it, so I wanted to add that in there. Then I'm also mixing some black cream paint around the barnacles too to make them look extra grimy. It's pretty easy, and you can use this cream paint to really blend around on top of the body paints, and just continue to do this to all of your barnacles. The body paints will dry and adhere to the clay really well, but cream paints don't dry, so just keep that in mind when using this on yourself or a client. These bad boys needed some highlight in their lives, so I added a little bit of white paint with the tan, obviously mainly white, just to highlight the high points of these barnacles. The amount of times I've said barnacles in this tutorial, I'm sure, is just a lot. A fuck ton. As I was going through the look, I was like, damn, it's kind of looking like it's inspired by the sea spray, so I added some more texture of the white in with that grimy brown. I wanted to keep her lips nude, and nude for her is obviously turquoise, so I went in with this Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics lip tar, just because it gave a little bit of a sheen to the lips. Add a little bit more of that Sea Mist eyeshadow around the eyes, they look a little more sunken in. And like I said before, the whole look was kind of inspired by this headpiece with these beautiful sprays of pearl. This is made by Mermaid Sanctuary Designs. She's absolutely fantastic and does a lot of custom pieces. This was custom made for me, so definitely go check her out. Her link will be down below so that you can check out her other beautiful headpieces. After putting on my wig and the headpiece and some lashes, I decided that it needed a little bit of shells. So I added on these shells using just eyelash glue. Could use spirit gum, but I wanted to show that you can use what you have, and if you only have eyelash glue, you can make it happen. And that is the entire look. I hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you recreate this, please tag me so I can see. And you guys, I have an awesome Wonderland series coming up for you, so get ready. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.